If I had to have just one grill, if you said you can go through your whole showroom, your whole shop, and there's only one grill.
I'm in the Lone Star State and I am off to Conroe, Texas to meet Chris from Lone Star Grillz. Because I'm not only interested in learning more about the people, but all the places responsible for making some of the world's best backyard cookers. Let's go meet them. Hey Chris.
James, how are you?
Nice. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Lone Star Grillz.
Absolutely.
What can I show you around?
Well, I'd love to get a bit of a tour of the shop and learn a little bit more about the smokers and grills you make.
Absolutely. Let's go look. Hey guys, it's Chris with Lone Star Grillz, located right here in Conroe, Texas.
So tell me a little bit about what you make and how long have you been at it?
So we make offset smokers. We make Made in America pellet smokers, Made in America Santa Maria grills, live fire grills.
I have one of those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've seen it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I've been in metal fab since 99, 2000-ish. Had a company that we started, and then that sort of evolved into what we have now. So around 2007, 2008, we decided to start making fire pits. And first it was just to keep our guys busy in the wintertime. That was our normal slower time of the year for our fab business. And it was a perfect match of a hobby, which I loved cooking. I loved cooking outdoors over fire. And I loved metal fab. I love working with my hands and designing products. And it was basically the perfect marriage of something that I enjoy doing, working with my hands and building steel products, and cooking. I always loved cooking. I love cooking outdoors, cooking over fire, smoking meat. All of it was all a hobby. And when we were able to take that hobby and turn it into a business, it was one of those deals that people tell you don't ever work a day in your life. And it's not 100% true. There's a few days we work, but it is something that you love doing and enjoy doing, and it's a passion, and there's never a day that I don't look forward to waking up and coming to work.
So one of the questions I'm sure is on people's mind is, what's your philosophy behind the products that you make, or what makes Lone Star unique in this space?
So number one, we're very proud of the fact that we make everything here in America, right here in Texas. We source domestic products. We have partners that are domestic suppliers for sub-assemblies for some of our pellet grills. So we think that everybody should be able to afford high quality products and enjoy cooking. And when the products are higher quality, it's easier to use, you enjoy it more. And so that's everything together, is that we want it to be enjoyable, affordable, and a high quality product that we can make right here in America.
So I know for myself, coming 1,600 miles, that you ship abroad. Where are some other places you might find your products?
So obviously we're based in America. So the bulk of our customer base is based in America. We ship to all 50 states. We ship to Canada, obviously. But if you're watching this video from outside of the 50 states or outside of Canada, we've got solutions to get the grills to you.
Amazing. Well, I can attest, being 1,600 miles away, the quality job your team did packaging up. I've ordered a pizza that's arrived more damaged than my Santa Maria, which came in pristine condition. So you do an amazing job.
Thank you.
Getting these faraway places. So
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So I saw a while back that Conroe, Texas, or at least 10 years ago, was one of the fastest growing communities in the US. So for you, what does it mean to be based here, call this home base?
Yeah, well, it's 10 years ago it was, and 10 years ago I think it's still number one or number two in the nation. It means a lot more traffic is what it means on the surface, a lot more people. But I was born and raised here, so we're proud of the city of Conroe. Been here my whole life, moved around a little bit here and there, but come right back. And we're proud to have our shop here. We're proud to have the community and be involved in the community and be able to give back to our local community is also another big thing, being from here and being part of that and being able to help out where we can.
So where did your love of barbecue get started? Where's the origin story for Chris?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I didn't cook before college. In college, we started grilling, tailgating, hanging out with the guys, and not knowing how to do it and wanting to learn how to get better is where that actually started. It was more about grilling, and then the smoking kind of came later. But really, the biggest drive for me is that, when you're just starting out and you're in college, you can't go eat at the 5-star steak restaurant. So you better learn how to cook a good steak. If you want to eat a good steak, you're going to have to do it yourself. And so that's what drove that passion was, the learning to get better and learn these different techniques. And I still love it today. I still love learning new things. I still love YouTube. I still love watching your recipes, other recipes, and learning these new tricks, because every day you learn something new. There's always something that you can do, and build on that knowledge base that you have.
So what was the journey like to get started from, you mentioned earlier on, kind of fabrication and welding, but
Right.
what was the path to making your sort of first backyard cooker?
Yeah, we didn't reinvent the wheel, or we didn't invent the wheel. The wheel was already invented. I think seeing products out there on the market and knowing with the metal fabrication background that we could do a better job, and then learning the science behind it. How does it draw? What makes it better? How can I take the one that this guy, that guy, they sell at the hardware store? They're okay, but how can we make it better? And that's where it all started. It was looking at what was there and knowing that we could make something better. Not reinventing it, not coming up with something brand new, but improving on what was already there.
So when you got started and built your first cooker to now, I imagine a lot's changed. What are some of the biggest changes that you've seen as the company's grown and the amount of products that you're offering has expanded?
Well, as we've grown, technology's advanced. We've been able to acquire technology, different machines, CNC machinery that makes the process faster, more efficient, and higher quality. So precision cutting, precision bending. In the old days, we would cut piece, seam together. But with the advances of CNC machinery, we can now take 5 pieces, cut it out of one, and bend it into the shape we want. That's the big thing. We're still doing the exact same thing. We're still welding, we're still building it with our hands, but being able to refine those products and make it more efficient.
So over the past decade, you mentioned the growth in Conroe. So too is the growth in the amount of brands and products available to the backyard pitmaster. What are some of the changes or challenges that you've seen, and specifically, what's something you want them to know about them being a potential customer, about Lone Star, and what makes you unique?
Yeah, so you're right. Over the years, especially through the COVID years, with people staying home, the outdoor industry has exploded, which has also fueled lots of other individuals in the business. And I think the thing that's most important to us is we were here long before that, and we are here after that. And we're growing with the industry. We're not throwing out the latest, greatest, the trendy thing on Instagram or TikTok. We're building products that are made to stand the test of time, made in America, products that you can hand down not to your kids, but are good enough to hand down to your grandkids, and made right here in America.
So in Central Texas, barbecue's been well documented history, kind of going back all the way to kind of early 1800s.
Right.
Brings up an interesting question, kind of old school, new school, the advent recently explosion of technology. Yeah. What's your thought on the intersection of technology and an old school craft like making amazing barbecue?
Well, sure. With the number of customers that we have, we certainly hear how much some people prefer the old school methods and how some people prefer, the iPhones and the apps and the instant read thermometers. And so for us, we try and bridge that gap. We try and meet you at either end or right in the middle. So obviously we sell a vast array of offset smokers, which require no technology at all. If you're old school and that's what you like, we've got you covered. Yeah. The live fire grills, which again require no technology. If, for example, you want to integrate a little bit, we've got the instant read thermometers or the wireless probes, which is I think it's all a benefit. And then all the way up to where we have the temperature controllers for like our large insulated smokers or our offsets, where we can run a fan to control the temperature, up all the way to the set it and forget it's like the pellet smokers. So we can meet you anywhere along that line. And personally, I have no qualms either way. If you want to be old school, great. I've got you covered and I'm with you. And if you want that pellet smoker, push the button, turn it on, go back, watch the football game, I have no problems with that. And we got you covered there too. I think in the grand scheme of things, technology is good. I think it's made barbecue better. When I first started, there were no fans to control the temperatures. There was no instant read thermometers. None of that even existed. And I think all in all, it's made it better. We do hear the guys that, they're old school and purist, and that's great. And I don't have an issue with that, and I applaud that. And I think either way, where you're anywhere in that gamut, I think we've got something for you, and I think it's all been good. Something as simple as a meat probe, maybe one on the grill, maybe one in the meat, just to wake you up in the middle of the night. If something were to go awry, I think that's saved dinner for Sunday afternoon. And so even if you're old school, I think just a little bit of that technology mixed in is wise.
Right on.
Yeah.
It almost seems every year goes by, there's something new, a new gadget or a feature. Oh. How do you sort of cut fluff from innovation? And do you still believe there's room for innovation when you get into things like offsets or pellet grills or the variety of smokers that you offer consumers?
Yeah, sure. So, I've always been of the belief that if you're not innovating, you're just going to die off. You've always got to be innovating. Now, does that mean we're going to reinvent the wheel? I don't know at this point. The offset smokers, tried and true. You look at like our pellet smokers, it's a constant evolution as technology advances, the controller advances, and the programming advances, and the features advance as well. So yeah, there's room, and there are every year somebody comes out with something, and sometimes it catches on, sometimes it doesn't. And we've had some of those ideas that we thought were great, and after sitting back, you're like, yeah, you know what, the offset, might be good as it is. But that constant innovation is what pushes it to the next level. And it doesn't matter if you're in barbecue, actually cooking it, building the equipment for it, or whatever else other industry that you might be in.
I might have my date wrong. I'll put it on the screen if I got it wrong. But I think, if I remember correctly from Texas Monthly, the first sort of commercially available offset smoker sold was in 1983. But if you think about sort of the skill that goes with an offset, and even though I don't cook often with a pellet grill, I can't think of a single product category that's invited more people into a hobby I love than the pellet grills. So that's maybe a great example of innovation meeting accessibility and sort of opening up a hobby to many, many more people.
And I think probably the pellet smoker has been that catalyst. And I saw an interesting, and I don't know that about the exact date, it sounds about right. I remember as a kid, there was a couple of brands that I remember seeing around, and some of those are still around, some of them have died off, but they've also not innovated since then. It's pretty much the same thing as it was in 1983, and I think there's that difference. But the statistic I read a couple of years ago was that per capita in 1950s versus today, roughly the same amount of households had barbecues then and have them now. But what has changed, because for somebody that's in it every day, it feels like it's growing exponentially, but I think that pellet smoker has been taking the place of the old school gas grill, because now you're cooking with real wood. You can tell your buddies that we smoked a brisket, and you actually can nowadays. They've come that far that there's not much difference between them, and it takes that entry level and that skill level so much lower. There's a lot of skill required in managing a fire, and that's lowered that threshold and made it more accessible to more people. And I think that's been a great thing to the industry.
So on the pellet grill side of things, a lot of companies are trying to kind of use the term own the stack, or sort of own the software and everything that goes with that.
Right.
I can't help but notice you're using another brand I'm a fan of, FireBoard, for your PID controllers. Tell me a little bit about what led to that partnership and how and why you picked another sort of great Made in America company to partner with you to add some smart intelligence to an old school hobby.
Well, you hit the nail on the head to start with, Made in America, right? I mean, it is made in Kansas City, Missouri. So very accessible. We can collaborate if we need to, and that's one key part. But we sold FireBoard far before we decided to do the pellet controller, and so I was very familiar with not just that product, but the other products out there. And by far and away, it was just the most feature-rich. It was the best product available. And collaborating with them, they were at the point where they had just started dabbling in that a little bit. And it was just a match made in heaven. And even today, I don't know of a better controller. I don't know of an app that has more features. And now they just came out with their pulse wireless thermometer, which will, by the way, go through 1/4-inch steel. So even on our offsets, that is still able to pass through there. You can still link it up with your phone, the Bluetooth and all that. So just having them as a partner, them being made in America, which is very important to us, obviously, has been a blessing.
So what are some of the details? Lots of details, and I was admiring sort of the shop polishing stainless steel behind me and a whole bunch of other things. But in your own words, what are some of the details that not only make your products great cookers, but also help enrich or maybe even make better food for people cooking along at home?
I would say probably the biggest thing that separates our grills and our products from the lower end box store type, or even just the cheaper versions, right, is going to be the quality materials that go into it. But one of the biggest things is going to be the thickness of the steel, right? So steel is thermal mass. So when you have a really thin tin can cooker that you bought, temperatures vary a lot because the outside air, especially in the wintertime like we're now, it pulls that temperature and it changes it.
Put you on the spot.
Sure.
You make a lot of great products. I know as parents, we never admit to our kids we have a favorite. Just kidding, girls. No favorites. But when it comes to maybe a smoke or a grill, do you find yourself using one at home more often than anything else?
I think probably for me, my favorite is going to be anything live fire. So typically I do a lot more grilling than I do smoking. The Santa Maria, I love that. I love that it's not a set temperature, that we're adjusting things on the fly. I love the hands-on, but I do get a ton of use out of the pellet smoker. Girls, I have 3 boys. We've got all kinds of sports activities, running a business. So if we're gonna do brisket, then yeah, it's probably gonna go on the pellet smoker. I do love the offset. I love building the fire. I love maintaining that. So for those shorter cooks, when I have time on the Sunday afternoons, I love throwing rack of ribs, chicken quarters, one of my favorites. I love chicken quarters on the offset. So yeah. I use them all, but I think that's what gets used the most. And if I was gonna put one over the other, it'd be the Santa Maria. If I had to have just one grill, if you said you can go through your whole showroom, your whole shop, and there's only one grill, at Santa Maria, maybe if there was only one, maybe the El Patron, because I can do a little bit more on that, but same concept, you know, that live fire plus a little bit more versatility.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh.
So whether it's this year or in the near future, for anybody who's in the market looking at a grill or a smoker, anything we haven't covered that you want to impart or leave with them as to why trusting Lone Star as their grill smoker of choice is something that they should consider?
Yeah, sure. So, we've been around for a long time, and we're going to be around for a long time. And we're here to help you, not just before, not just during, but we're helping customers after the sale. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. There's no stupid question. I know sometimes for customers, they may feel embarrassed, or there's, a learning curve, but that's what we're here for. And it's not, I think we're here more for after the sale for those. We want you to enjoy that offset. It is more challenging. But if you've got a question on fire management, we're here to help you. We want that to be an enjoyable experience. If it's enjoyable, you're going to use it more, you're going to enjoy it more, you're going to get more satisfaction out of it. So that's the big thing. We're here before, during, and after. We're just as eager to help you after you've got it home, share a brisket recipe with you, tag you in a YouTube video and help, tell you how to get that mediocre ribs up to that next level. It doesn't matter what it is. That's the big thing. We're here before, during, and after.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for your time, inviting me into the shop, giving me a bit of a behind-the-scenes tour, and answering these questions. It's been a pleasure. Thanks,
Pleasure
Chris.
meeting you. Absolutely.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.